Yerp, yerp, yerp. Welcome back, Yerp Nation, to Rail with a Sports Opinion. Appreciate y'all tuning in to the channel. 49er gang, bang, bang. Today is Back Porch Chronicles with my 49ers. As you can see, I'm not on the back porch because it's raining like hell here in Southwest Florida. But I am here to speak on the 49ers and last week's win over the Philadelphia Eagles. So you already know, man. Hit that like, comment, subscribe, notification bell to stay up to date of when I post. And Niner gang, bang, bang, bang. Let's get into last week's matchup. Last week's win over the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll start off with some team stats, so let's jump right into it. Starting off with first downs. We led with first downs 23 to the Eagles 18. Third down efficiency, we were 6 of 14. The Eagles were 5 of 12. On offense, 6 of 14 is pretty okay. On defense, we got to shore up that 5 of 12. We want to be more like 3 of 12 or 4 of 12. But 5 of 12 is okay as well. Fourth down efficiency, we were 1 for 1. Those guys were 0 for 1. We held them on fourth down, which is great. We ran 68 total plays to their 55. We had 300 yards of total offense to their 328. Both of us had 9 total drives. We averaged 4.5 yards a play. They averaged 6 yards a play. Our passing game wasn't up to par this week. For whatever reason, we just did not move the ball down the field as much. We threw the ball for 189 yards. We were 22 of 30. Jimmy G was 22 of 30 for a 6.3 average yards per pass. 22 of 30 ain't bad. We only threw 8 incompletions, but we only had 189 yards out of those 22 completions, which tells me that if you watch the game, there were a lot of dump downs, a lot of short passes, a lot of screens of that nature that just didn't pan out like we usually break those tackles and break them free. We lead in yak. We used to lead the league in yak, but that just didn't show up Sunday, so we got to shore that up. We only gave up 177 yards passing, only on 50% completion too as well, 12 for 24 for Jalen Hurts, 6.8 yards a pass. We did sack Jalen Hurts twice. A good thing to note against a great defense like the Eagles, we did not give up a sack at all. That is great to hear. As long as we can keep Jimmy G upright, then we should be okay, man. But that's great to hear that we can give up a damn sack all game. I'm loving that. I'm loving that. I'm loving that. As far as rushing goes, we had a pretty horrible day rushing. We ended up having like 3 running backs get hurt. Elijah Mitchell, Trey Sermon, and Jermichael Hasty all got hurt that game. I do think Sermon and Mitchell may be available for the Packers coming up. And I do know that Hasty will be out with that ankle injury. But we only had 117 yards rushing on 38 attempts, which is 3.1 yards per carry. These guys had 151 yards rushing on 29 attempts, which is 5.2 yards a carry. But let's not get besides ourselves, because 10 of those attempts and 82 of those rushing yards came from the quarterback. And most of those rushing yards from the quarterback came off the scramble. And that is something that we are going to have to adjust to, but I'll get to that later on in the video. Let's get back through these stats. In the red zone, we were 2 for 2. In the red zone, they were 1 for 2. In penalties, we were 5 for 60. Penalties, they were 8 for 57. Neither team had a turnover. We led in time of possession with 34 minutes and 54 seconds, so they're 25 minutes and 6 seconds. Overall, it was a solid performance. So our second East Coast road game, right? Back-to-back. Solid performance. I see a lot of fans out there crying, and I am happy with the performance, given the fact that we were down 2 starting cornerbacks, a starting linebacker, we're down our starting running back. Actually, by the end of the game, we were at our 4th or 5th string running back. So, given the fact that we were able to pull this game off, which is a hard-fought defensive game, being the fact that we were able to contain these guys, especially in the second half, was great. It's a great win. I don't understand what 49ers Twitter is going on. These guys complain and argue and are mad about every damn thing. Jimmy G didn't turn the ball over. He didn't get sacked. Yeah, we would like to see him push the envelope down the field a little more, but a W is a W, and W's are not easy to come by in the NFL. I'm taking this W. I think the Eagles team is better than what we made them look on Sunday. So I'm taking this W and I'm running with it. 2-0 to start the season is great, especially dealing with the injuries that we've had so far. I am happy. I am not going to nitpick too much. There are some things that I think we can improve on and do better in next week against the Packers, Sunday night primetime. But all in all, I'm pleased with being 2-0, starting the season off on the road on the East Coast, 2 straight games. I'm pleased with that. I can't be upset with what we've done so far. So now let's move on. Let's move on. We'll talk about some of our stats getters. Like I said, Jimmy Garoppolo was 22 of 30 for 189 yards and a touchdown. He had a QBR of 55.4. He had a QBR of 55.4 and a rating of 100.6. Our leading rusher on the day was Elijah Mitchell, 17 carries, 42 yards. Jermichael Hasty had 5 carries, 38 yards. Jimmy Garoppolo had 11 carries, 20 yards, and a touchdown. Trey Sermon had 1 carry for 8 yards, and he got that concussion. Then we had Deebo Samuel, who also had a carry as well. In the receiving, Deebo, he's the leading receiver in the NFL right now in terms of yards. He had 6 receptions for 93 yards, for a 15.5 yard average. Jermichael Hasty was next at 4 for 21. Juwan Jennings at 2 of 17 in a touchdown. Kittle at 4 for 17. Hughes Check 2 for 15. Elijah Mitchell 2 for 11. And Trent Sheffield was our only other. Him and Ayuk both had 1 catch each. Sheffield for 9 yards, Ayuk for 6 yards. So our only other wide receivers who actually had catches. We fumbled the ball twice, but we did recover both of those. We didn't lose any of those fumbles, which is great. Fred Warner led us with total tackles. Jimmy Ward was right behind him. Nick Bosa had the 2 sacks for us. We had 5 tackles for loss. We were doing pretty good, right? Pretty good. I like the stats. I like what everything was. The only thing I did not like was the lack of wide receiver production. This has been a story so far this year, through 2 games. The lack of wide receiver production behind Deebo Samuel. For some reason, Brandon Ayuk he only got targeted twice yesterday. He only got caught 1 pass. Our other wide receivers, Deebo Samuel got 8 targets. Our other 3 wide receivers combined that actually played and got targets, had 6 targets combined. Kittle got 4 targets. He caught all 4 of the passes, but they were only for 17 yards, so we're going to have to use him a little more. Juwan Jennings did have 2 catches, 2 targets as well. So actually, I'm sorry, the other wide receivers had 8 targets that played, the same amount as Deebo. So we have to find some production outside of Deebo Samuel, right? But all in all, pretty good. Let's talk about some areas of concern for the offense. Areas of concern for the offense is we got to get Kittle more involved in the passing game, man. This guy is a beast. I know we love what he does in the blocking in the blocking and the running game, but to only have 4 receptions for 17 yards seems like we're not running him on those deeper routes, and when we are running him on those deeper routes, we aren't finding him like we were in years past. And I do think that's something that has to do with Garoppolo, that he has to check his progressions, and somehow we have to get Kittle more involved in the offense. If Kittle ain't involved in the offense, man, and to be honest, of us being 2-0, with Kittle barely being involved in the offense and our running game not being what our running game has been, is fairly impressive. If you want to 49ers Twitter, if you want to take that into some kind of consideration. Kittle's lack of production and the running game's lack of consistency through the first 2 games, and us being 2-0 is a sign is a good sign to come. If we can get those guys involved more, get the running game involved more, and get Kittle involved more in the offense, I think our offense can be that more dangerous. But right now, for whatever reason, it just isn't happening. Another area of concern, like I said, is the running game. The running game has to be better, man. We 3.1 yards per average is the running game on Sunday. I do know that the Eagles front 7 is pretty stout, but that just isn't going to cut it as far as running game goes, right? We want to be in that 4.5 to 5.5 plus yards per game as far as the running game goes in order for Shanahan's offense to click, because Shanahan's offense runs off of the running game as far as so he can use the passing game and the play action game and the passing game to set up big throws down the field. And if we aren't causing a threat in the run game, then of course the pass game is going to suffer a little bit. I think that's what we saw Sunday, as far as the pass game suffering a little bit because our running game just wasn't up to par. You feel me? Jimmy G, we got to stretch the field, man. Jimmy has to stretch the field. I know he's not the best. Get me, right? Get me 49ers fans. I know he's not the best when it comes to throws power and throwing strength, right? But we have to get the ball down the field. We have to get the ball down the field. I mean, it's just what we have to do, man. We have to stretch it, whether if we use the big body of Jawan Jennings or we use Deebo Samuel and those deep posts across the middle or what have you. We have to stretch the ball down the field. The dink and dunking is only going to work for so long before NFL teams start to adjust to that and start to see that there's a way to stop that. You get what I'm saying? Right? We're all on the same page here, right? So Jimmy just got to throw the damn ball, man. He got to throw the damn ball down the field, man. And that's all I'm hoping for. And that's all I'm asking for, to be honest with you. Is I'm asking for Jimmy to be able to throw the ball down the field at least 3 times a half, right? Like we're taking a deep shot at least 3 times a half to keep the safeties back, right? To keep the linebackers, when we do run play action, to keep them back, or when we do run the ball off of play action, right? To keep the linebackers hesitant before they come up and try to attack the run. Keep the safeties hesitant before they come up and try to attack the run. Because we want to run the ball. 49ers, we want to run the ball. That's what we want to do, right? That's what we want to do. So in order to run the ball, we have to be successful on play action passing and stretching the field in the pass game. So that way we're not having teams stacking the box on us and daring us to throw deep, right? We have to show teams that, hey, even if we're not successful, right? Even if we're not successful on the deep passes, we still have to show teams that, hey, listen, we are willing to take a shot on you if you want to walk safeties up, leave us one-on-one coverage outside and man coverage. We are willing to take those deep shots, right? It's like we have to be willing to take those deep shots at some point. So yeah, that's just the last area of concern I had on the offense was Jimmy G has to stretch the field. So we have to get Kittle more involved. We have to get the running game to be better, and Jimmy has to stretch the field more on offense. Areas for concern on defense, containment, especially if we're going to look at our schedule, right? Our schedule, the next 3 weeks, who do we have? We have the Packers, we have the Seahawks, and we have the Cardinals. And what are those 3 quarterbacks that we're going to face? Aaron Rodgers, Russell Westbrook, and Kyler Murray good at doing? Extending plays with their legs, throwing outside of the pocket, and if need be, taking off and getting first downs in big games with their legs is what we saw Jalen Hurts kill us with on Sunday, right? Especially in the second half when they were trying to do their little comeback thing. I think it was maybe like 3 straight plays where he ran for over 15 yards or something like that, right? So we have to be better in defensive containment and containing these mobile quarterbacks that we're going to face, especially with the likes of, just looking at the schedule, we face Kyler Murray and Russell Westbrook twice. We go against Aaron Rodgers. Tannehill's pretty shifty back there. The Texans have a quarterback that can move around. So we're playing against some mobile quarterbacks, right? So we got to contain. We cannot let a quarterback beat us with his legs and beat us with his legs alone. We want to have him on his back and have him contained and stay in the pocket, especially with a lot of these guys like Kyler Murray. Shorter guy, we want to keep him Russell Westbrook. Shorter guy, we would like to keep him in the pocket with pressure rather than have him roll out of the pocket and beat us with that pressure. And now they slinging the ball down the field to D-Hop and to other guys, Tyler Lockett and those guys, and Metcalf and those guys downfield, right? After they broke containment outside of the pocket. So containment is one of the biggest areas of concern for our defense, especially just looking back at the Eagles game, how Jalen Hurts was able to break contain sometimes and extend plays with his legs and get first downs on third downs with his legs and stuff like that. So definitely containment. Fewer big plays is an area of concern on defense. We have to give up fewer big plays, especially in the passing game. I don't know if you guys remember on Sunday against the Eagles, we had to pin back inside their own 5-yard line, and they ended up throwing the ball all the way down to their red zone. One-on-one on the outside, and the cornerback just could not keep up with the receiver, and the receiver ends up making a big play. Jalen Hurts scrambling and taking off, running for big plays. We have to cancel and limit the big plays. We gave up a few big plays as well to Detroit in the first week, especially when they were in their comeback mode. We just have to limit the big plays, man. Give up fewer big plays on defense, especially on that back end of that secondary. I know we're banged up back there, and I know we're bringing in some older veteran guys who may not be able to run like they used to, but still, we just have to stay on top of big plays. We can't let big plays happen in the run game, and we definitely cannot let them happen in the pass game, being that we are playing against three great quarterbacks coming up 3 straight weeks with the Packers, the Seahawks, and the Cardinals. So I do definitely think that we have to limit big plays moving forward. More pressure on the quarterback. More pressure on the quarterback. I know we got a couple sacks the other week, but outside of those couple sacks, man, Jalen Hurts was able to move freely and how he wanted to inside the pocket last week. I don't think we hit him much. Let me just check on the stats here. But I do not think we hit Jalen Hurts much last week. No, 3 times. Outside of the 2 sacks and Arden Key getting another hit on Jalen Hurts, we didn't put much pressure on him as far as hitting him and making him uncomfortable. And that's just something that we were known for, especially in our Super Bowl season. The season that we got to the Super Bowl was getting after the quarterback, pressuring him, hitting him. Listen, we don't have to get the sack every time, but we want to at least knock the quarterback down at least 8 to 9 times a game. If we can put hands on him 8 to 9 times a game, that makes the quarterback's feet happy. He gets a little iffy. He starts to feel pressure when there isn't pressure. You get what I'm saying? So we just have to put more pressure on quarterbacks moving forward. And we have to be better on third down efficiency. We have to be better on third down efficiency and getting these guys off the field. Like I said, the Eagles were 5 of 12 on third down against us. We just have to do a little bit better job. I like to see that around the 3 to 4 to 12 mark instead of 5 of 12. But 5 of 12 is not bad, right? 5 of 12 is not bad, but it's not going to be something that's going to get us into the playoffs and get us into the number 1 spot in the NFC West once we get deep down in the schedule, right? So we definitely have to do a better job on third down efficiency on defense. And those are my areas of concerns. Let's talk about some bright spots. If you want to talk about some bright spots so far this season, Deebo Samuel. What can you say, man? This guy is leading the league in receiving at 282 yards right now. He's projected to have 120 receptions. Right now, he's projected to have 2,000 yards this season. With just the way he's been playing and being our number 1 guy and catching the ball, and his yak ability is that of none other. I loved him coming out of college. I love the damn pick. Debo's just a dog, man. You know, Debo's going to go out there. He's going to run DBs over. He's going to break tackles, stiff arm them. He's going to run past them. He's just a full package, and I love it. Deebo Samuel is a definite bright spot. Our offensive line, right, in pass protection. Definite bright spot. Definite bright spot in pass protection. I mean, I think we've only given up 1 sack so far this season. If I'm not mistaken, let me just double check and see. Bear with me a few moments here. Yeah, we've only given up 1 sack in 2 games so far on Jimmy Garoppolo, which is great. Offensive line, keep it up. That is a very big bright spot in the pass protection. Now we just have to get the offensive line a little better in run blocking, open up some more holes for our guys back there. But pass protection is legit, and I'm loving it. Another bright spot is defense with injuries, right? Our defense with injuries has held up. They've played great. Besides those last 5 minutes in the Detroit game, they've played great. I love it. We only gave up 11 points last week to Philadelphia in a hostile environment. And like I said, we have 1, 2, 3, 5, at least 4 guys injured on the defense that weren't playing. And I'm loving it, man. I am loving it. Josh Norman came in and he filled in beautifully. He had a few penalties, right? He had a few pass interference calls, but he did fill in beautifully, and I love that. I love that from him. Defense keep balling. Hopefully we can get Emmanuel Mosley back this week, and we'll get a few other guys back, and then we'll move on from there, right? Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa's been playing lights out. I think Nick has 4 sacks, if I'm not mistaken. What is Nicky at? Nicky is at 4 sacks this year so far. But yeah, Nick Bosa has been a definite bright spot for us on defense, man. I can't say more about Nick. Nick has been doing his thing, and And that's what we love to see with Nick, man. We love to see that with Nick on this season so far. 3 sacks so far. 3 sacks and a forced fumble so far. So Nick is back to being himself, So I'm loving it. Hopefully he can be more productive as we move forward. And just keep getting after the quarterback. But I'm loving Nick. He's a definite bright spot for us. And our safeties. Our safeties have been playing lights out. I know that their stats haven't been lights out stats as far as interceptions and stuff like that. But as far as tackling in an open field, can we give a hand clap? Can we give a hand clap to Tart and Ward? Those guys have been making tackles in the open field, one-on-one situations, saving touchdowns, saving big plays from being even bigger plays. So I am all for those guys, man. Our safeties are doing great. Like I said, Nick Bosa, defense with the injuries, offensive line with the pass protection, and Deebo Samuel, man, have been our bright spots for the year. We do have some more injuries to talk about. Running back injuries, we had 3 get injured on Sunday. Hopefully 2 of them will be available on this coming Sunday. But other than that, Niners gang, this has been Back Porch with your 49ers. We are 2-0. Stop the bickering on Twitter. Let's get this win against the Packers on Sunday. Y'all be looking out for my Packers preview video coming out here on Thursday. I'll be posting that on Thursday. But yeah, man, like, comment, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. And you already know it's real. And I have a damn sports opinion. Bang, bang, Niner gang.